We're going to take a look at dilations then today. So what a dilation is it's either an enlarging or reducing the size of a figure using translation. So you would have done some kind of translation at junior cert. You would have done axial symmetry, translation, transformation, stuff like that. That would have been all junior cert. This one is a dilation, so it's either making an object larger or smaller, but keeping the same looking object. For this one, K is the letter that you'll see comes up. It's telling you the amount of times you need to make the object larger or smaller. So if you have K equals 2, that's a scale factor, is what it's called, of 2. It means you're doubling the size of the object. If you had a scale factor of 1/2, then that means that you're making it smaller, you're making it half its size. So if I have K is greater than 1, then it's an enlargement because it's making it larger. And if K is less than 1, then it's a reduction, it's making it smaller. O just represents the centre of dilation, or the centre of enlargement, or the centre of reduction. So just be wary that that word can kind of change. It's not always dilation, it could be enlargement. It's actually usually enlargement, but it can also be reduction as well. So just be aware of that. If the scale factor known as K is 2, then the distance of each point from O, which represents the centre, is doubled. If the scale factor is 1/2, then the distance of each point from O is halved. And we'll look at examples of these, but these are just notes. And the last thing then to remember is if you have the area of an object is always the first one, image is always the thing that you create afterwards using the scale factor. So if you have the area of an object, then the area of the image is going to be the object area multiplied by, now that's K squared, it's just I can't write K squared on this, so it's K squared is what you should be writing. So object area multiplied by K squared. That's going to get you the area of the image, so the second one. So I'm going to pause the video and just take those bits of notes down. They'll help you then when you're doing these questions. So I'm going to take a look at a couple of different questions today. So this first one here, this is what we're kind of talking about. So for this first one then, this first bit says if A dash B dash C dash is the image of ABC. So what they'll generally do is they'll call, there's my image or my object, or sorry, this would be my objects, that's the starting one. They'll call that A, B and C. Whereas if they're looking at the image, the second object, they'll put a little dash at the side of each of them to show that this is the second one of this A, B and C. So this is a reduction, so it just means that it's going to be smaller. So your object is going to start at a certain size and then what you create is going to be smaller. Here's our centre of enlargement O, and it is a scale factor of 0.6. So what that means is that K equals 0.6. And what that means is in an exam you would be given this, you would be given this, and you would be given this. And you would be asked to create this middle triangle, this one here, from using all that information. And how you go about doing that is you take your ruler. I'm just going to get rid of some of this red stuff. So you get your ruler, you have your point here, and you draw a line to that. So a line like, sorry, it's hard to do it on this. So you have your lines on this then. All right, so when you draw those lines, what you then do is you check the measurement of this line here. Let's say it was 3, for instance. And what you do with your 3 then is you say 3, I'm going to multiply that by 0.6. And when you multiply that by 0.6, you get 1.8. So now instead of going the length of 1.8 here, you go from your centre, instead of going the length of 3 here, what you do is you start from here and you go 1.8 there. So it's always from the centre. So this distance would be 1.8, whereas the whole yellow distance there would be 3. And you do the exact same thing for each of the points. Let's say that that was a length of 5. I take my 5 and I multiply it by 0.6. When I multiply it by 0.6, I get a 3. So I now know that the distance from here to here, that is going to be a distance of 3. And then do the same for the last one. It's probably going to be the same. Let's say that it's 1.8. So then I have these 3 points and I join them together to make my final shape. So that's what this whole idea idea is here. So it's a little bit messy now just because it's a little bit hard to do on the screen. But if you want to pause the video and try doing that yourself. So what you're doing there is you are starting with your original object here in blue. So the larger triangle. You're going to have then your center of enlargement. And what you're going to do is you're going to join then O to all the different points, your center of enlargement to the different points. And then you're going to use your calculator to find the actual distances you need to go to make your image. So if you want to pause that there, you can give that a go. Okay, next thing we're going to look at then is this bottom question here. Here it says find the image of ABC with the enlargement with center O and scale factor of 3. So what I'm going to do is, first thing is, I know the scale factor is going to be 3, so it's going to be larger. It's going to be out here somewhere. So what I'm going to do first is I am going to join up my points. Sorry. Okay, and again, sorry, this is just very difficult on this kind of thing to do. Okay, and then last one. Right, and again, they should obviously be straight lines. So what I'm going to do then is I'm going to measure my distance from O to B. So measure my distance from O to B, and that is going to be 1.5 centimeters. So O to B equals 1.5. I need to take my 1.5 and multiply it by 3, and I end up getting 4.5. So I now know that I need to measure 4.5 going out this side. Now when I measure 4.5, I end up going from here, let's say for here. So 4.5 to around there. And that is going to be B dash. Okay. I do the same thing for C. So I measure O to C and I multiply that by my 3 and I end up with that red line. I need to go a little bit further. I end up with my point C dash here, and I join B and C together. I do the exact same thing for my O, and my O is going to be about 2 centimeters. So I multiply my 2 centimeters by 3, so I need to go 6 centimeters out here. And when I go my 6 centimeters out here, I need to make that red line a little bit larger again. When I do that, I end up with about 6 centimeters here. And that's going to be my A dash, and I join up those different ones. Okay, and I have a triangle that's 3 times larger than the original triangle. So I have a scale factor of 3. Okay, so next thing I want to just very quickly point out is these 2 questions here. For this first one, if you're given something like this and you're asked to find the enlargement, you're asked to find the center, what you need to do is you need to take your ruler, you need to join up these the 2 points. So join A to A, and it's wherever all of those points meet. Okay, I do the same with B and B dash. And I do the same with C and C dash. And it's wherever those 3 lines meet. Again, it'll be a bit more obvious when you have a ruler. So I have that point there, that is my center O. To find my scale factor then, what I do is I measure this length here. And I measure that and I'm getting 1.5. And then I measure this here. Okay. And I am getting 5 there. So I know that I have 1.5 and I have 5. So I know that my scale factor then is going to be the, the image over the object. So image over the object. And we know the object is the original, so that's going to be the blue one. So K is going to be 5 for the image over 1.5. And I check what that is on my calculator, and it's an image of 3 1/3. Okay. The only other thing just to be careful with this is if you're given something like this bottom one here. If you're given something like that, just be aware that the scale factor can be, it can be inside the 2. So if I draw B to B dash, if I draw B to B dash, and I draw A through A dash, and I draw C through C dash, they're inside of the 2 triangles. So it can be inside of the 2 triangles, and there's your scale factor again. And then also be aware that you can also have a scale factor that's smaller. So it could be a fraction if the A image is outside. So if this is smaller than this, then you're going to have a fraction as well. But just remember to use this K equals, okay? So if you want to, again, pause the video and take those down, or even just take down what I'm talking about with this, finding the K and finding the origin, you can do that as well.